Hello, today we are talking about a problems of mechanics of fluids. So this document is in French because I found it in my folders and I thought, well, let's talk about it a bit. So it's in French, but I'm pretty sure you'll find out what I mean. So at first, the characterization of our problem. So we have two fluids, a fluid 1 and fluid 2. The fluid and a Cartesian plane. So here we have just a surface, and on the top we have a surface, and we'll assume that the flow goes from left to right for both fluids. So at first we will consider that the heaviest is the fluid 1, because else by gravity 1 would go to the top and 2 will go to the bottom, so it doesn't make sense. We notice that they flow because a gradient of pressure. So the two main sources that could happen for the fluid to flow is a gradient of pressure a um, or gravity. So gravity wouldn't work here, and we have infinitely long planes, but that doesn't seem quite well for our problem because we need to define pressure correctly. So if you take infinitely long z-axis, it doesn't make sense. So what we'll do is consider from minus L over 2 in the length of it. So, and we will consider the height, so delta 2 for the top and minus delta 1 for the bottom. So, so we get a three-dimensional problem in which we consider, we call mu1 for the viscosity of 1 and mu2 the viscosity of 2. And in general, we call 1 something if it's the fluid 1 and 2 if it's the fluid 2. So for the domains, the fluid 1 goes into this domain and the fluid 2 goes into this domain. So it's a mathematization of the problem. So we have three unknowns. So the pressure, the velocity, so the vector velocity, and for both fluids. So we are in a stationary problem. So all the derivatives over time are equal to 0. So of these equations are equal to 0. But obviously there is a flow, so it's not static problem. So we are in a laminar studying. So they flow with various steps. So you know that there is the flow that is very close will be slower because it touches the bottom. Then the fluid that is slightly higher will flow very faster than the bottom one, but slower than the top. So there is this system in which you know that they will not go from top to bottom and bottom to top because they flow in a laminar study. So the flow will go from left to right strictly. So it will not have rotation. The flow will not have a flow that will rotate. So no rotational, because we are in a laminar study. So we will also neglect the impact of gravity. So for a simple reason, we consider that the speed of the fluid is very higher compared to the gravity. So we will neglect it. So we will consider that the pressure is linear between z. So in 0, so the difference between in minus L over 2 the difference between minus L over 2 and minus L over 2 is obviously 0 because there is no difference of pressure. We assume that we can measure it from minus L over 2 to L over 2, and we'll say that the pressure at a fixed x goes linearly in terms of z. So it goes 0 and then it's linear depending on z. So we can just interpolate in terms of just a line, and that's our assumption. So the derivative of p over z is just minus the derivative of p over L. And obviously the pressure does not depend on other spaces variables. So in terms of symmetries, we can notice that there is no difference when you translate it along z, and also along y. Sorry. So for the speed, so the variable that will matter is v1 of z, and v1 of z that depends of x because the speed is among the z axis, and this speed will depend only on the place in which they are in the x-axis, because if you are here or here, it doesn't really change. It doesn't at all change the value, but if you are here and here, it changes the value. And that speed is along the z-axis. So once you've done that, you have a better understanding of the variables. So we turn these variables into p, in which we have a differential equation, a v1 that is v1 depending only of x along the z-axis, and same for v2. So now for the conditions. So we know that by adhesion property, we will have a speed that is equal to 0. So when the flow will touch the side, the speed will be equal to 0, and same on the top. So we have two conditions on the limits, and we also have a condition in the interface between the two fluids. So it's the definition of viscosity. If V1 pushes V2 in a certain direction, then V2 is pushing V1 into the other direction. So it's the Newton principle applied to viscosity. So what we get is dF1 is equal to minus dF2. So the viscosity in 1 is equal to the viscosity in 2. So once we get here, we get the equation of continuity. So we will say that, okay, the variation, there is no variation in the volumic mass. So we get this equation here. We also know that this is equal to 0, this is equal to 0. So obviously the problem does not depend in time. It's also a way to find that there is no variation in the terms of v1 of x and v2 of and v y and vx. So we get that the differential of v1 over v1z over z is equal to 0. So it's a constant of z. So we also find the result that we found earlier. The speed does not depend on z. So now we'll use the Navier-Stokes equation. So we just replace it with the tensor approach, and we get these results for the first two first two equations. So along x and along y, and we just find that pressure does not depend on x neither y, so it's fine. But the only interesting thing is the two equations that we get along Z in the two parts, so in the fluid 1 and the fluid 2. So the differential of P over Z is equal to plus mu E, the second derivative of V I Z over x squared is equal to, so it's equal to this. So we get also the partial, we know the partial differential of dP over dz, because we said earlier that it was linear. So we get this expression here. So now it's more a matter of mathematics. So we integrate it over a surface, so we get this expression here. We use the force of a viscosity in x is equal to 0, so the interface between the two fluids. So we can get the constant C1, so in the domain 1 and the domain 2, that they are equal, because in 0 this simplifies and this simplifies. So now we get this expression by integrating twice, and by a resolution. So we said that the speed in the top and in the bottom is equal to 0. So we solve, we get the unknowns, and we get this expression here as a factor of C1. So now we have constants, so constants of integration, that are a factor of another constant of integration, which is not very fine, but we will use the equality of speed in 0. So this is something we didn't mention earlier, is that the speed in the interface, so in here, the speed must be the same, because if there was a difference in speed, then there will appear a rotational, because it's not non-homogeneous, and a part will be faster than the other, and it wouldn't work. So in the interface, the speeds, the velocity are equal in both parts. So we get this equation here, we simplify, we get this expression. So we keep on simplifying, so we plug in this into this expression, and we get this. We put C1 into the only part, and we get this thingy here. So by calling 2C1 to be equal to A, 2C1 to be equal to A, we get this expression here. Okay, so now we've got our expression of velocity in both parts to be equal to V Viz to be equal to minus delta P over mu E L x squared over 2 plus C1 of x plus C2 plus I, so C2 plus I, so it's equal to C3 for the first fluid and C4 for the second. So now we can conclude, because we have lots of results. So C1 is equal to A over 2. So we just expand and simplify. So we get the expression of V1 of Z to be equal to delta P 2 mu 1L to be equal to minus x squared. So it's decreasing with a square, minus AX, so A being this, plus delta 1 squared minus A delta 1. So once we get this, we also do the same for V2Z, and we get the same thing here. So we by simplifying, we get this nice expression that is the general result. So now we will try to find the maximum. So this is the least, the easiest part. So because this is a more analytical problem, so this is more like more of a math problem. And now we'll just calculate the maximum. So obviously the maximum is reached in the when the derivative over x is equal to 0, because we have a decreasing part. So in v1 so with the two expressions, so the differential of v1 and v2, we get exactly the same expression because the differential are more or less equal. So we get this expression, except that for v2 it's equal to mu e, and for v1 it's equal to for here it's equal to mu2, and this is equal to mu1. So for this being equal to 0, you need minus 2xm minus a to be equal to 0. So you get xm is equal to a over 2 in the two domains. So to have the maximum, you will get a over 2. So a over 2, so this maximum is positive if a is positive, and negative if it's in fluid 1 if a is positive, and in fluid 2 if a is negative, and in between if a is equal to 0. So before doing that, I will just remind the expression of a. So this is this expression of a. You can see that sometimes this will be negative, sometimes this will be positive, so it's not obvious. So we know where the maximum is. So now we'll compute the sections. So we will assume that the section in which they pass, so we have a section 1 and a section 2, and we want that we want it to have a maximum in the interface. So it means that the two section verify a is equal to 0. So you get this expression here, you simplify, and you get that the two section must follow this equation. And that's it for this. So we characterize the whole problem, so with knowing what is the form of the velocity, what is the form of the pressure, where are the maximum, where are the how to compute the maximum, and various variables that you have to compute, so a in especially. So that's all for this problem. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment. I'll be glad to answer them. And bye.